everybody, young Grasshopper here. Welcome to the Cliffside Bunker in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And this is my run-through solo game. I'm playing 3G40 Tournament Edition. We're in round 1. And in this episode, we're going to do China, round 1, China. Let's take a look here. And as always, with these videos, I go straight to the comments, talking about the last video that we uploaded. And that had everything to do with Italy. So there's quite a few comments here. I'll try and get through them. China's not going to be a long game round, but this might be a long video just to get through some things and some house cleaning. Try and get through these quickly. Jack Sarles says, good stuff. I'm starting to think that maybe the Gibraltar build-up is a strategy where you might have a higher ceiling than Taranto, but it also can go really poorly. I think we're starting to see that. Leaving the Italians with almost a full fleet and London threatened at the same time seems like a worst case scenario. So yeah, UK is in a difficult spot right now. Best case scenario is that they don't pull off the Algeria snake and you can defend Africa and London, maybe a case of 1 in the hand and 2 in the bush. Of course, you don't have to scramble the British fighters and they can return to Britain, but the air base can't grow legs and move, true. Buying 9 infantry but committing all air power to Taranto might be enough to cover both bases. Buying infantry covers London and Taranto raid protects North Africa. I am not passing judgment though. I think Gibraltar is still the higher ceiling as a strategy. So yeah, we can discuss a lot of that before we get into China. Lots to digest with what's going on in Europe for sure. But yeah, thanks Jack. Sergeant Schulze, that's it. Sergeant Schulze. From Hogan's Hero, I believe. He says, I believe the bomber landing in Alexandria is not a legal move due to Italy just taking control of it. So, yep, I recognize that. Yeah, saw that and commented at the top, man, it's weird how fundamental mistakes I make. And I need a real game with buddies so bad. He replied back, when a person is recording a video coupled with teaching strategy and playing each empire to the best of their ability, errors are going to happen. That's why during turn 2, you may not need to show dice rolling because it's less error probability and more importantly, less editing. So far, this is the best, most in-depth strategy videos for ANA I've seen. Wow, thanks Bill, that's high praise. I like that he mentions that they're strategy videos and not just a YouTube Wars video series. I'm talking a lot about different options and things, so thanks Bill, really appreciate that. And thanks Sergeant Schulze for spotting that as well. I kind of spotted the fact that I landed that in Alexandria wrong right away, but I knew that quite a few people were going to see it and comment. Charles Michalek, you said that the Italy fighters couldn't reach the C zone, but they could move 3 and land in southern France, so wouldn't it be 8 units on 8 units? So that was a nice call. So in the video I explained that my Italian fighters couldn't hit the fleet, but in fact I could have landed in German controlled southern France, and that really would have I probably would have done it if I recognized that. But so he says, he goes on to say, I'm not going to make a judgment call on which is better, but with the way you rolled the Italians, you would have significant damage on the UK fleet, if not destroyed it altogether. Also, if you had purchased a German carrier, 2 transports, you could have taken London turn 2, as you pointed out in the video. Yeah, I mean, if I buy the carrier and 2 transports for Germany, I mean, London wouldn't have done half the things that it did, obviously in reaction to that. Panzer King says, here we go. I think that was the first comment in the video. Fernando Cruz, interesting move into Algeria. Looking forward to see if the Luftwaffe can finish off the British fleet in the Med. Having gone through the moves and counter moves, which of the 3 British opening moves do you like best? Taranto raid, Rock of Gibraltar, or escape to the Red Sea? I would include hitting Tobruk, the amphibious assault on Tobruk, and I would say escaping to the Red Sea would be the last option. That's my opinion. But those 3, the Taranto raid, Rock of Gibraltar he calls it, and the Tobruk amphibious assault are the 3, but I don't think any one of them has more strength over the others. I think they're just average strategies, something to do with your fleet, and you've got to choose basically out of those 3 average strategies. Fernando went on to say the potential loss of all UK ships in the Med in hands of the Luftwaffe sets up for a return to Italian achievement of the first victory objective for the Axis. I agree with that. Not to mention the loss of fighters sets up the London to fall 2. That's 2 tokens on G3. And then I agree the G1 purchase of 1 transport or 2 might make the UK Rock of Gibraltar strategy very risky. So everything's in kind of reaction. I mean, like I said, if the German purchase was 2 transports or whatever, I mean, I may have gone for Tobruk, but you know, I mean, we'll get into it more, get through the comments here, but I think that 3 fighter purchase for Germany in turn 1, probably that alone negates that Rock of Gibraltar build-up, right? So Peter Magro, I see that name quite a bit in my comments over the years. Thanks, Peter, for all your support. I really like the modifications you did with the objectives, player order, etc. We'll try this for sure. Would move over both tanks to Algeria and artillery to southern Italy to be picked up by the transports on the next turn. 3 UK fighters in Gibraltar with an airbase is annoying. Not building a single surface ship or spreading transports out with that threat. So yeah, I had a choice to make how to fill my 2 Italian transports. I opted for an infantry artillery and an infantry tank. It's kind of personal preference, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, I think I still have quite a bit to pick up if I want to from Southern, if that's the way I go. Henrik says, wow, what a turn 1 Italy, great rolls. Yeah, they I think they really escaped that AA gun with those 3 6s rolled. That could have been 3 1s. That would have changed the whole nature of the battle. Gregory Brown, I love the way you explain your moves and strategies. Wish I had at least half your insight. Keep up the good work. It's opening up new ideas for all. Thanks, Gregory. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the compliments and comment. That's what I'm really hoping that this turn 1 can do, is just get people to look at this strategy in Europe, at least, to just, I mean, obviously we're doing the whole global game, but hopefully it does just open things up for people to understand, if anything, just recognize that 3 plane purchase and what Axis kind of want to do with that, and recognize it. And Christopher Wilson, I think everyone in their heart of hearts is pulling for Italy. Okay. I got a good friend, Luigi, who I know is pulling for Italy. It's funny because when I'm rolling and the Allies roll so bad, it's playing a solo game is strange, because you're happy that your strategy of the nation that you're moving around at the time is doing well, but you know that the other side is in big trouble. You're going to have to deal with that once you just dive into their next turn. And then of course, right from the beginning, I said that I saw the bomber in Alexandria, which is not allowed, so I'll instead send it to southern Italy. Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate the comments. And so this strategic bomber, that I put here will just go back home. We shouldn't ever let turns end when planes have landed illegally, but if it happens, just have them correct it right away later. Even if their turn is over, it just can't be there, okay? So before I get into China, this is China turn 1 in my run through. You can see, of course, the order of play has changed. There's a big difference in this variant, but there's not much at all that has changed over here. I mean, obviously the order of play comes into factor, but not so much, I would say, in the beginning of the game, just because the United States is still neutral. So this Algerian snake strategy is starting to pan out. And so we're talking about all this stuff that was here and here, of course, in the setup, coming here and attacking. Let's check out those aircraft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, definitely would have been able to land in southern France. If I spotted that, I probably would have hit it. Now, the whole deal with this whole area and scenario is this. Was it a good idea or a bad idea? Well, it's shaping up to be a bad idea, that's for sure. And I talked in the last video about, why isn't this more powerful? Well, we talked about the destroyer not being able to get here because we had to deal with the submarines. Even if we passed through the submarines and came here, the 2 submarines would be able to hit on their turn, and Germany being able on turn 2 to peel away 2 submarines instead of aircraft as casualties just wasn't a good idea. But this 111 fleet can't reach, and the cruiser that we get starting was destroyed, so it can't come in here either. Now, the French boats, if they weren't attacked, could join in here and make it more difficult for Germany. That would have been another destroyer and cruiser in there. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Because, I mean, all this with the fighters should have hit this, really. And I think I would have scrambled in that case, looking for good rolls, but we all saw how good the Italian rolls were here. So now it's poised to give Germany a shot at this with all their aircraft pretty much and come here. They don't even really need to bring all their aircraft, but it's shaping up to be a bad idea. But what are the choices for the UK fleet here? Well, they can come in and hit Taranto and kill 3 boats for sure, and that would have hurt them, and possibly a scramble. And if you get lucky, you take out 3 big boats, because the transport is a big deal, plus 3 fighters, and you lose all your fleet that way. And you probably surely would. I mean, hopefully you get all 6 of those units, but the carrier goes down, the destroyer, the cruiser, all that goes down. But that would have been fine because you're kind of trading units for units, and I think that that's what you need to do with this fleet, is to get it in a position either attacking or defending like this where it destroys Axis units. So by coming in here, you definitely destroy Axis units, and by coming in here and doing amphibious assault on Tobruk, that's a whole other thing that can be done. That's a choice, and it's valid. I mean, to kill all these land units. Now, we did have the 2 fighters there. Would have been difficult, would have been hairy for sure. And the reason why that doesn't really work out too well in the long run is just simply because the carrier still doesn't have anything to do. I mean, it could come here, land 2 fighters, and then in that case try and take down more units. So the carrier is either attacking and getting sunk there against a Taranto raid, or sitting here with the transport and the cruiser, because you need those for landing and bombardment, and the carrier here with the 2 planes can maybe take out units on the counter attack. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to muscle up so we can have a good defense with the 3 plane scramble. And I would venture to say that all 3 are equally sound. it's fine to do all of them. And I'm even okay with this, just not so much right now, just because like I said, I don't have the French boats. I don't have other boats there to make it as strong. Like, the Italian fleet should have really attacked it. And that would have allowed Germany the freedom to just do other things, like hit this boat or these boats in this boat, and set up for sea lion. Now, I definitely don't disagree that both the North Africa token and the London token are easily on the table. It could easily be 2-0 by the end of turn 3. And that's how it goes, though, in this game. A good Axis player will get on their horse and devise strategies to get 2 tokens, make it 2-0. I was saying to Contango on the phone, it seems like the first half belongs to the Axis, and they're trying to get as many as they can. And then the second half of the game, from round 4 to round 8, belongs to the Allies, trying to catch up and even tie it and get that attrition token outright win. So the reason why this is okay to me, and not saying that's any better than coming here, it's not, or any better than coming here. I'd say all 3 are equal, but not very strong. But this does give the Americans an air base. So even if London falls, the Americans in time can go there to Gibraltar and use that air base. Yeah. So that's all I'll talk about over here. But thanks a lot, everybody, for your comments. And it is a conundrum, for sure. And I'm just very intrigued by this 3-fighter purchase and the way that this Algerian snake strategy plays out. And I did kind of go there to just fall in line with it. And I think that what was happening online is a lot of Allied players were coming here and doing this without a significant answer from the Axis. And then eventually, after thinking about what do we do about a Gibraltar buildup, the 3 planes, the Algerian landing spot, all started to come into focus. And I don't know if this is feasible anymore, because the Axis found a good counter for this move, which really weakens it. And those 3 fighters can be used definitely during the game in all kinds of situations. There was a couple of comments that suggest that the carrier and the 2 transport build would have been better, but I'm not convinced that everything works out like this with that purchase. I think that there's no need for really London to strip 2 units and come down here, and there's more of a fortification once they see the aircraft carrier down there. And that being said, I mean, maybe the North Africa token isn't so threatened, right? Because with the 3 fighters, those planes come down. But I'd venture to say that the North Africa token for the Axis is very easy, especially if Japan is keeping the Americans out of the war. And it's something that should be on every Axis player's radar, because you want to get up 2-0. You want to try and use that first half of the game while Russia and America are neutral to do what you can, all kinds of things. So we're going to get into China now. This is China turn 1. It's the 19-minute mark, and we're just starting their round right now. But I appreciate all the interest coming from everybody. And let's turn off the video, and we will do some combat movement for China. Be right back. Okay, guys, we're back, and I have 1 attack with China. And it's going to be for the road. I'm bringing 4 infantry and 1 fighter. 2 infantry came from here. 2 infantry came from here. And I've left 4 remaining to be moved in non-combat movement. And the reason why I'm not bringing it all in is because it'll definitely get smashed. One thing that we have to be concerned about are the tokens for Japan. We're not going to just hand them the Chinese token on a platter. So what is the China token for the Axis? Well, they control every single originally controlled Chinese territory on the board. If that ever happens at any point in the game, they're going to get a token. They're going to score that point, and it doesn't matter if Russia comes in to help afterwards. If it's done, it's done. So we need to hold on to all of our territories before we can get some help. So a couple of things about the Allied strategy here is, first of all, we need to present ourselves with the UK Pacific in a way, position ourselves so we can help. Also up here, and I'll show you in the next video with Russia, we need to help China. We need to come in at this entry point, or this entry point, just so that if the Japanese early on are pushing and pressing and trying to get all those territories, we can at the last minute come in and negate that, come in here and just prevent that token from falling. But right now it's all on the shoulders of China. I'm not moving everything into here, which I normally would in out-of-box games. And the reason being is because there's a bit of a strategy out there called the Burma build-up. And so you would send all 6 in here plus these 2, and we would knock them out and we would have a stack. Now, even though it's vulnerable to this, what would happen on UK Pacific's turn is they would declare war and then move whatever they've moved up turn 1. They would move into there and help stack that 6. And this is pretty strong in out-of-box games, just simply because the Chinese now would have the road and they can collect 6 IPCs, but they can also at the end of their, or at the beginning of their turn, now build artillery and just fill it full of artillery. And it's a real hard nut to crack for Japan. Maybe a presence of all their fleet here could put pressure on Burma, not allowing them to move up. But in most cases, this stack gets so high with both UK Pacific and Chinese that it can't be taken. And therefore, the 6 IPCs plus the ability of building those artillery and stacking it becomes overwhelming and just can't be taken over with everything that Japan needs to be doing during the game. But now here in 3G40 Tournament Edition, that build-up, that strategy, that Burma road stack is just so much harder now, because it really needs to happen at the beginning. Round 1, round 2, it all needs to happen early. And what is going to happen, or what's going to try and happen, is Japan is going to get past this road spot before the UK can come in, because remember, they cannot declare war on Japan until the beginning of their 3rd turn. That's going to allow Japan to deal with this and just the Chinese here, instead of seeing a big stack build up, which eventually becomes untouchable. But because of the order of play and whatnot, so advantage Japan on that front, okay? For those that feel like Japan is way too disadvantaged in this particular variant. So we've got an attack here. We're going to try and take out 2 units. I thought about bringing in 3, but you know, we can't suffer any more disappointments by the Allies. I'm bringing in 4, and these 4 are going to retreat. Now those are my combat movements, and over here I've got purchases. I've purchased 4 infantry with 12 IPCs. And we have purchased, made declarations of war not necessary, and our combat movement. So we are now in stage 2. And there's no scramble or kamikaze tokens being used, so we're just going to go ahead and roll this out now. So Japan has 2 or less to defend, and we're rolling 4 dice at 1, but hopefully that fighter hits and helps us. Hey, if we roll 2 1s here, that would be great. So I'm gonna just push that in. There we go. So we've got the attacker. We need ones. Nothing. And we need that fighter to hit 1 at 3. Oh, as it's been going for the Allies this first turn. So, and there was nothing hit by the Japanese units. So let's do this again. Let's get a 1 here. Nothing. How about that fighter? Nothing. Nothing on the defense. Let's just keep going. Need ones. Nothing. Oh, I rolled too many. That's okay. It was all nothing. And there's a hit. So the fighter hit at 2. 1 for 1. So now it's only 3 infantry at 1. Nothing. And a fighter. Nothing. Japan only has 1 unit left. And they hit. So let's clean this up. That's a lot of combat rounds filled with misses. So 1 is off here and 2 are gone here. Good thing I brought in 4. But it'd be nice if they could hit. So Chinese infantry, there it is. And 1 artillery miss. So it's taken. That was our resolve combat phase. Pretty pathetic. But the job was done. They have 2 units there. And we're going to adjust this now. So up 1, down 1. So non-combat movements. So like I said, China's only concerned is not losing all their units. Sorry, all their territories. Therefore giving up a token. China does not want to be responsible for helping the Axis get a token. So we're on our own for a little while. We're going to just move these back, and simply because there's a lot of aircraft here, it's not unlike Japan to just go 1, 2, 3, 4 and just hit all those. And we've got the road, so we're going to collect 6 IPCs. It's unlikely that we're going to, this will fly back to here. It's unlikely that we're going to be able to build artillery, not like we want to anyway in this variant. I'm not quite sure. We'll see what Japan does. But these are at risk, so we'll just move those in. No need to get too scared and just pull everything back right away. I would even venture to say, you know what, let's move those up there like that. There won't be any road defense. It's difficult because if we leave it here, the aircraft will go and take them out. So they can't sit here and wait to counter again because they may not be there next turn. I mean, there's 4 units here that could easily take this out with some aircraft 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the rest of these just take out whatever's here. I know I'm building 4 units, and that would be 8, but I don't want to risk losing China. And the only way we don't lose China is if we can keep our army. So we'll just stay there, and we'll build there, we'll stack. And we'll have some options to go in different directions. So that's it. That is the combat movement and the non-combat movement. Let's take a look at our stage card. So next, we're going to place new units. And we'll just go ahead and take 4 chips. So 4 fresh Chinese units right there. I know I lost something here. Where'd it go? There it is. Out in the ocean. So that's China. Not much to shoot here, but it was fun just doing the comments and talking about Europe for a while. We've got coming up Russia. And let's collect our money. So it's only 9 IPCs, but that's pretty good because that's going to get us 3 infantry, guaranteed at least. Nine. Let's put that right there. Oh, we collect 6 for having the road. So we'll take another 6. That's good. All right, so not bad. We're positioned defensively. That's what we want to do in this variant because we don't know where the help's going to come and how strong that help, when it happens, how much it's going to help. But we need to just take care of ourselves right now as China. And like I said, that Burma Road buildup is kind of squashed in this variant. So, yeah. So up next, Russia, turn 1. Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. I'm pretty much guaranteed 1 per video, right? So, interesting so far. We'll do Russia, and then US, then France. That'll finish out the round. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being interested. Thanks for all the comments, likes, shares, and may all your rolls be ones. Take care.